Hi, and welcome back to the Dave Experience South Korea edition. I'm going to talk briefly about the social pecking order and a couple of nuances about the social order here. If you're Korean, you're automatically a higher status. If you're Asian, you're automatically a higher status than European most of the time. If you're a man, you're automatically a higher status. I'm sorry, ladies, I didn't make the rules. I don't even think the Koreans made the rules, but they came from somewhere, and these are the rules that people follow. If you're older, you're automatically a higher status. If you're Russian, you're automatically a lower status. The reputation comes from the number of Russians that go to Busan that are renowned for crime and prostitution and drugs. So if you're Russian or Russian descent, I would hide that in any way possible. Um, if you're a female and blonde and blue-eyed, you might get a couple of looks. They might ask if you're Russian because the Russian prostitutes I just mentioned, most of them are blonde-haired. So just tell them you're not Russian. You may get some unwanted attention. You may want to dye your hair. That's up to you. That's my phone. Catchy little tune, isn't it? Sometimes I just let it ring when my alarm goes off. Let's see what else. You should make friends with an older man if possible. Uh, that older man will be able to help you out in ways that you wouldn't believe. If you get mistreated at a company, if something happens that you don't understand, you can ask what the correct thing in the culture is to do, and they'll explain it to you. Sometimes they'll even go down to the company if they were rude to you, and they'll tell the guy a new one, and the guy will stand there and he will take it because the older guy is like a general and a younger person is like a private. Okay, and he'll stand there and take it. He will apologize. He will provide a solution for you if one exists, and if it doesn't, he will give you a very um, lengthy and polite uh, explanation of why he can't help. And it's just to have an older friend that's a male in Korea is just it's helped me so much. I'm so grateful to the man I know. Let's see. Koreans are offended if you um, ask if they're Chinese or probably any other of any other descent. So don't. Let's see. Foreigners have, especially Americans, have a reputation for being loud, rude, and inappropriate. This comes from a few bad apples that have come to Korea to teach English, got the free plane ticket, worked for 2 months and disappeared, got drunk and came to class drunk, or are rude and just didn't act right. A lot of people actually do speak English. They may not initially speak it to you because they want to see if you're one of those scumbags or not. They're going to see if you're going to curse at them because you're frustrated that you can't communicate. The culture is very different, so communication is going to be difficult. Even if you're drawing pictures, they may not get it because the culture is so different than when you first meet someone. You don't say how are you, you say where are you going. Um, you don't say how are you because the literal translation comes back as something like how are you living, and how are you living is really none of your business if you've just met that person. That's just the way it is. Let's see. Crime in Korea is not tolerated by foreigners. If you're friends with the police, that may help. But the simple fact of the matter is that they are very harsh toward foreigners. I heard a story that was from a prison guard that said there was a foreigner that got into a fight. The Korean person just attacked him for no readily apparent reason, and the foreigner went to prison. The Korean person didn't. So if you get into a fight, just back down, let somebody pull the guy off you because it's just not worth it. They will not tolerate it. Let's see what else. There, if you're a blonde, blue-eyed girl in Korea, people may ask if you're Russian because A lot of the prostitutes in Busan that are Russian, have blonde hair and blue eyes. Strangely enough, a lot of schools prefer females. Some of them even prefer blonde hair and blue eyes. Why this is, I couldn't tell you. Ask if you get here. You may want to dye your hair afterwards, but expect some unwanted attention because they may think that you're a prostitute. Let's see what else. There's a little bit of a quirk with the way Koreans refer to ages. Um, there's sometimes a 2 year discrepancy between what age they say they are and what we think of as actual age. For example, if you've just had a birthday in Korea, they consider you to be 2 years older. If you're less than 6 months from your next birthday, they consider you to be 1 year older. I think that has something to do with conception. Life begins at conception. Maybe not, because I don't think you get conceived 2 years prior. No, that's not right. But the simple fact of the matter is, it creates certain awkward social situations sometimes because the language has a built-in mechanism to show respect for older people. So if you need to be within that 2 year range um, to really be friends or to be romantic with people. Now there's plenty of exceptions. The culture is starting to change. It's starting to adapt, and that's starting to disappear. But if you get turned down because someone's older or younger, it's not personal. It's just in their culture. It's just not really proper. So don't feel bad. But there's plenty of exceptions. So don't worry about that. Um, the Korean people are terrific and friendly almost all the time. Just walk somewhere and pretend you're lost. Just look around and look concerned like you're lost, and within 2 minutes, someone will come up to you and offer to give you help. Sometimes they'll even take you in their own car to wherever you need to go and make sure that you're okay. Anyway, there's plenty more to come. I'm going to be teaching how to read Korean. The Korean alphabet's 24 letters. It looks real complicated, but what I thought were individual uh, letters were actually not. The letters were actually much smaller than the text. I'll give a demonstration in some later part of the program. And this is the best book that I've seen so far, The Lonely Planet Korea Guide to North and South Korea. It has some language in it, which is all right. I haven't seen all of it because I'm learning from Korean people, so I don't need a book. The other books that I have they're just wrong. The translations are wrong. How to pronounce the words are wrong. So before you learn anything, you really need to learn how to read the Korean so that you can pronounce things properly. Um, the books that I've seen, they're either terribly wrong or they're so ridiculously complicated that you would really rather wallow in ignorance than try to decode what they're trying to say. Anyway, this is Dave. You've been watching the Dave Experience South Korea edition, and I'll see you next time because I got to get ready for work. Bye.